Hi, I'm Deanna Springer.
And I'm Dana Casey with the Fun Stitch It Sisters Sewing Project and Classic Time-Saving Tips by Nancy Zieman.
First, let's take a look at the project we're making today. We'll be sewing our super simple throw pillows with premium yarn dye fabrics by Benartex Fabrics, Clover's hot ruler, a 6-in-1 stick and stitch guide, a point-to-point turner, stiletto awl, Pellon's Easy Knit interfacing, June Taylor's Easy View pressing cloth, and Quilter's Start Savvy, along with Schmetz Chrome Universal Needle size 80, and our BERNINA B770 sewing machine and BERNINA L 850 Overlocker Serger.
Sew a new pillow or two and instantly update your decor.
To make our easy envelope style pillow, we'll start by simply cutting a few rectangles and squares from premium yarn dyed fabrics. We are using yarn dyed fabrics, which means the threads are dyed before they're woven into fabrics.
Okay.
The fabric is, unlike a printed fabric, the fabric is almost the same on both sides because the threads were dyed before they were woven together into fabric. So they're essentially the same on both sides. So you can choose your favorite side, but first you want to wash that. So head to the washing machine and wash and dry your fabrics and just pre-shrink them that way. Head to the ironing board and spray press and starch the fabrics with June Taylor's Quilter's Start Savvy. Press and starch and press and starch. It's always a good rule to prepare the fabrics. And then we cut simple squares. We're making 18-inch pillows today. So we're cutting 19-inch squares for the front. So we'll be making one pillow today. We showed 3 different color versions, so you get to choose the fabrics. We're using green on the front and then blue on the back. So it's a pretty like color blocked pillow design, and it's envelope style. So when we say envelope style, that's what we mean. There are 2 pieces on the back that make one back, and then there's 1 piece on the front to showcase that beautiful yarn dyed fabric. So we'll start by cutting simple rectangles. We've cut 2 rectangles for the back, and these measure 14 by 19.
Okay.
Again, we're making that 18-inch pillow, so 14 by 19 and 2 of them.
Okay.
And then you'll need 1 19-inch square for the front.
Okay.
And we want to make sure that we interface all fabrics. So you cut that same 14 by 19 rectangles, 2 for the back, and interface the back of the front pillow too with that interfacing.
Okay.
So head to the ironing board and use that June Taylor's Easy View pressing cloth and adhere that interfacing to the back of the fabric.
Okay.
And we're using the Pellon Easy Knit interfacing. It's a knit interfacing, but it adheres really easily.
Okay.
And it's nice and wide when you're making big pillows. It's a nice wide interfacing to use. The next step would be to serge the back opening.
Okay.
So we want to clean finish the side or the long edge of both back pieces. And we've already done that. We went to the serger and just did an edge finish. Now if you have a sewing machine, you could just set your sewing machine for a zigzag stitch and clean finish both of those back pieces. So both of those pieces have been edge finished with the serger. The next step would be to turn this over and create a hem for each of the back pieces. And we like to use Clover's hot ruler, and it's just the right size. It's 2.5 inches. So just align that serged edge with the edge of the ruler and then press. Press at that ironing board and get that hem nice and pressed in place.
Okay.
And we'll do that for both pieces. You see on the next sample that we have that turned under and serged. And then we'd have a second one that we'd overlap on the top of that.
Okay.
So this is in place, and we just align the cut edges. Now we're putting the pieces together so that they're stacked into place. And you would align the second back with the cut edges. I'm just aligning those top edges.
Okay.
And this, of course, would be in place. Now we need to hem this before we sew the pillow together.
Right.
So after you press this, you'd head to the sewing machine and straight stitch.
Okay.
Straight stitch along this hem. Again, these are the back pieces. We want to make sure they're finished because they show on the back of the pillow.
Oh, sure.
So once both of those hems are stitched, you just align those cut edges, and I like to place the top of the pillow down first, and then the bottom overlaps that. When you turn that right side out, the top will be on the outside.
Oh, okay.
And then we do some pinning. We just pin all the way around those outside edges.
Okay.
Put some pins all around all 4 edges. The next sample shows those pins in place. Then we need to sew the outside edges. There are only 2 or 4 seams in this pillow, depending on how you look at it. And we've stitched the top seam and the lower seam. Again, just head to the serger and serge that, or your sewing machine, and stitch with 1/2-inch seam allowances.
Okay.
And for this pillow, we like to use Nancy's wrapped corners. So
Great
after we
technique.
stitch the top and the lower, not the sides, we wrap. We wrap those seams towards the pillow.
Okay.
And then you would stitch those side seams. Stitch both side edges of the pillow. And our next sample shows that that's already stitched. This is our orange and pink pillow.
Yes.
So you can see there's the inside. Here are the 2 back pieces. And we've first stitched those side seams and wrapped those corners. And those wrap corners, when this is turned right side out, make really crisp corners, as you know.
Right.
So we use Clover's point-to-point turner, and we turn this right side out. And then you just poke out those corners, each corner, all 4 corners. And it fits right in that corner and pushes it out. And the corner naturally wants to just pop out because it's a wrapped corner. If you didn't sew wrap corners, you'd have a little bit more work to do. You'd have to trim the seam allowances and then poke them out. This way, there's no trimming.
Yeah.
You
and
just
these are nice
poke.
and square. Otherwise, they'd probably be rounded a little bit.
Right, they're a little bit rounded sometimes if you don't use wrap corners. That's why we love wrap corners.
Right.
And that's it. Your pillow is finished. So I'll bring back the finished pillow, and you can see here's the back, that envelope style. That's just a pillow form, an 18-inch pillow form. So you could change this up for any season or any reason.
Oh, for sure.
And this would make a great palette for embellishment. We've showcased the Benartex yarn dyed fabrics, which are great fabrics to make these super simple pillows.
They're beautiful.
But you could use this, you could use a quilt block.
Oh, sure.
Say you had an 18-inch quilt block, a 19-inch quilt block, you could showcase an orphan quilt block, or you could use applique, ribbon tucks, you could make all kinds of embellishments on here.
I think our sister Denise would probably do an embroidery design on there.
I know she would. I could see her doing a big medallion and featuring an embroidery, maybe on a solid fabric or a mottled fabric. But yarn dyes were our choice today.
They're
And
beautiful.
they make terrific, fun pillows.
We hope you've enjoyed the Stitch It Sisters project. You'll find this pattern, along with a limited number of bundle boxes, at stitchitsisters.com. Be sure to tune in again for another Stitch It Sisters sewing adventure. In the meantime, connect with Stitch It Sisters and friends on our social sites. Stitch It Sisters is made possible by BERNINA, Clover, Benartex Fabrics, June Taylor, OESD Oklahoma Embroidery Supply and Design, and shopnzp.com.
BERNINA, made to create.